So using the map I'm gonna give you in today's episode, I personally was able to hit $100,000 months with my agency when I was 19, 20, 21 years old.
July 2019 was the first month where I actually managed to hit $100,000 profit.
But more importantly than that, thousands of others have used this exact same 4-stage map to scale their agencies to $10,000, $20,000, $50,000, even $100,000. And inside of today's class, I'm gonna give you access to the same map. In fact, today I'm gonna show you 4 things. The 4-stage map to hit $10,000 a month with your agency, exactly what to do in your first 100 days of starting your agency, broken down week by week. And at the end of the video, I'm gonna give you all of the information about the official enrollment for Agency Accelerator. And lastly, I'm gonna give you the opportunity to join our VIP list for enrollments, so that way you can join at a huge discount and get a very special one-time launch bonus. So if that's something that interests you, make sure you watch this episode until the very end. And without further ado, let's get into it. So this is the map to $10,000 a month with your agency business. Now, I like to say that starting an online agency and getting it to $10,000 a month is very similar to finishing a video game. Let me explain. A video game is usually composed of 2 main elements: a set of missions that you have to complete, and a map that tells you where to go to complete such missions. Now, the process of finishing a video game is very straightforward. It may not be easy, but it's straightforward. You look at your map, you see where it's telling you to go, and you go there, and then you complete the missions that you're given. And then you go through the same process over and over until eventually you finish all of the missions inside of your game. Now listen, of course, you can face different challenges and different obstacles along the way, but the most important thing is that you always know exactly what needs to be done next. Now, with business, the process is pretty much the same. You just have to go through a set of missions or tasks in this case, and as you complete them, your business will grow, or in this case, your agency. Now, the difficult thing with business is that we're not necessarily handed a map nor a clear set of missions when we first get started. And what that means is that we kind of have to figure it all out on our own. And most of the time what happens is that without a map, we have no clarity as to where we should go next. Now, think about a video game you finished. Now imagine how much harder it would have been if you didn't have the map that the game gives you. How likely would you have been to finish it in that case? Well, that's exactly the reason that most people fail in business. Now, what if you had a map in business? How much easier would it be to succeed in business if you knew exactly what you needed to do next and what's the best way to do it? You see, the thing with having a map is that your decisions become effortless and see what's the path for you to get to your next milestone. And that's huge, because what stops most people from succeeding is their fear of making the wrong decisions. And what a map really does is it takes away that fear. Because when you have one, there's no questions. The path is clear. Your only job is to walk the path. And that is exactly what I'm going to give you in today's module of Agency Accelerator. Listen, after building half a dozen businesses from the ground up to multiple 7 and 8 figures a year, and after going through 4 iterations of this program that teaches people the process of building a 6 and sometimes even 7-figure agency from scratch with no experience, I can confidently say that I've crafted the perfect map to get you from $0 to $10,000 a month with this process. So I know that you're inside this program because you've wanted to start an online business, but maybe you didn't have clarity, you didn't have the map to get you there. Well, today, that all changes, because I'm going to run you through the 4 different stages of running a successful agency, and then I'm going to give you a step-by-step breakdown of the exact action steps you need to take in your first 100 days with this business model to achieve success with it day by day. And by the end of today's module of Agency Accelerator, you're going to have everything you need to start moving, get some momentum going, and finally break out of the inertia. So let me present you with the map to 7 figures with this business model. And this is the map. You can see that there are 4 stages to it. And those are the 4 stages that you go through as an agency owner. They're the milestones. Now let me break down exactly what you're going to experience on each of these stages so you know exactly what the journey ahead looks like. And for each of these stages, I'm going to tell you how much you're going to be making, what are the specific characteristics of that stage, what missions you have to complete during it, and how to progress to the next stage. Now at first we have the glorified contractor stage. This is where you're making from $1,000 to $5,000 a month with your agency. And to get to this stage, you mainly have to work on prospecting. Now this stage is called glorified contractor because majority of the times you're still doing everything on your own, all the way from sales to maybe even service delivery in case you decide not to use a contractor and to actually start drop servicing yet. Here, you're going to be working on your client's business pretty much as if you were a contractor. Hence why the name of the stage. Now notice that even though this is the first stage, it's one of the steepest parts of your journey. And that's because signing the first client will always be the hardest of them all. Here, you're still experimenting with different niches and different services and finding out what works best for you. This phase is really all about trial and error. And your mission here is to find proof of concept. That is a combination of niche and service to which you can generate results consistently for clients. Now, once you find proof of concept, you're ready to progress to the next stage. Now, our second stage, I like to call boutique agency. Here's where you're making anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 a month. You get to this stage once you dial in your service and your niche. And that's when you start specializing and becoming good at getting consistent results for clients of that specific niche. And here, you already have a contractor working with you, whether it's on a per client basis or maybe even full-time. So that way you can get off service delivery and start focusing on the things that actually grows your agency business, which is signing more clients. And your mission here is to complete the transition from a self-employed freelancer to a proper business owner who runs a real agency. Now, to progress to the next stage, you need to have an agency that has streamlined processes and is able to partially run without your direct input, especially on the service delivery side of things. And after that, we have our third stage, and here's where things start to get quite interesting. Now, the third stage, I like to call a lean, mean, results-driven agency. And this is where you're making anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 a month. And it is here where you really start to get dialed in. When you're an LMRD agency, you've got your outreach on point. You're already working with appointment setters who take care of booking client meetings for you. You've got ads running to generate leads on autopilot. You've got a full-time team member, or maybe at this point, even 2 or 3 people working full-time for you. Now, the growth you experience from a glorified contractor to a boutique agency, well, it looks linear. But once you get to this point, this is really when you start to experience exponential growth. And this is not only from your agency, by the way. At this stage, you're pulling in so much money from your clients that you can start putting your money into investments. And because you're pulling in so much disposable income each year, this is where you start getting to $100,000 to $200,000 a year in passive income. And you start becoming a savvy investor. And because you have so much cash flow, you're able to leverage it as well. And I've surpassed this point in my life as well, where my investments and equity stakes in other companies make me more money than the businesses themselves. And it was all financially supported by my agency in the first place. Your main mission here is to scale your agency to a point where you can use it as a launch pad to fund other business ventures or investments. You then progress to the next stage once the agency can run smoothly without any input from you and it's generating enough cash to provide you with a little bit of FU money, meaning you have achieved real financial freedom. And finally, we get to our last stage, which is a private equity incubator. Here's when you start making anywhere from $30,000 to upwards of $250,000 a month. And here, you're not only working with clients and acting as their full service agency, but you also have investments in them. So when the time comes, and this will happen, by the way, and one of your clients sells for $40 million and you have a 10% equity stake in them, well, guess who took home $4 million from that? And that's at a small scale, by the way. If you do this stuff right, this is where you start making serious money. And by the way, that's exactly how Tim Ferriss turned $250 into over $100 million. He started as a consultant investing and advising in a few startups, and since he had a small stake in each company, whenever it was sold, he got a percentage of it. Now imagine you get very good at getting results to one specific niche within your agency. Let's say, for example, it's a beverage drinks brand, and you get to a point where you're making $500,000 a year with your agency. Well, now you can start investing in some of those brands. And the best part is you know exactly how to grow them because you've done it over and over for your clients. And this is how you make an eye-watering amount of money in this business. The more well-known you get, the better the opportunities will be presented to you. For example, I'm at a point where I'm so well known for my marketing prowess that not only have I invested in a dozen plus companies, mainly software companies, but I've also been offered equity stakes in many companies without even having to pay a dime for it, just because of my business expertise. So you need to understand just how real these opportunities are inside of Agency Accelerator. We've had hundreds of students get to the lean, mean, results-driven agency stage. And by the way, those are just the ones we can actually count. Now, we used to have a high-ticket program called Apex for $9,800 for 6-month access. And that was for agencies doing more than $100,000 a year that wanted to grow their agencies to $1 million a year plus. And we actually discontinued that 18 months ago. We serviced all of the remaining students for the 6 months, didn't sell it, and I decided that I didn't want to sell anything high-ticket anymore. And I made a decision in that moment that everything that was taught inside there by myself and our experts, I would just put inside of Agency Accelerator. And we had over 500 agencies go through that high-ticket program, meaning those are hundreds of students who went from 0 to to a lean, mean, results-driven agency stage where their money starts working for them and their agency serves as a cash flow business, pump money into other investments. And inside of our last program, Agency Navigator, we had thousands and thousands of students doing anywhere from $2,000 to $10,000 a month with their agencies. And you're going to see new ones popping up daily inside of our community. So if you zoom out a little, you're going to see that throughout the entire promotion for Agency Accelerator, we talk about how to get to $10,000 a month specifically, because that's where most people want to get to. But what I want you to realize is that this is only a small fraction of what's possible with this business model. You can achieve so much more than that if you stick to it. And by the way, to get from $10,000 to $100,000 a month, we used to sell a program for 6-month access at almost $10,000. And we have scrapped that and put all of that here inside of Agency Accelerator. My goal with Agency Accelerator, because I have no interest or no desire in selling anything more expensive than this, I've just decided to put everything in here. So any program you see out there for $20,000, $5,000, $10,000, they do not and cannot come close. So whether you want to make $3,000 a month with this business model, you want to make $10,000 a month with this business model, or you even want to make $50,000 a month with this business model, I have brought on the experts to get to any of that stage. Bear in mind, we have people inside this program like Josh and Matt who make $450,000 a month with their agency, and they're here teaching you. We have guys like Guillaume or my business partner Pierre, who ran agencies, and from the cash they made from their agencies, they built softwares that are worth multi-8 and even in Guillaume's case, multi-9 figures. So it's funny, this week I was talking to Josh, who, as I said, you're going to get to meet later during the sales phase of Agency Accelerator, and he's actually now in the process of acquiring agencies and rolling them up for a future sale. And we were discussing scaling an agency, and he said, word for word, listen, getting to $200,000 a month with an agency is actually very simple. There's nothing complex you need to do other than just managing a team. Literally anyone can get there. Now, getting to $10,000 a month is quite literally just doing the work. You just have to offer your services to enough people and you will stumble into $10,000 a month. It's virtually impossible not to get there if you just do what needs to be done. It's so easy that even if you don't know what you're doing, you will get there, just as long as you keep trying. So I say all of that to make it clear that this is the sort of business that we're dealing with here. Now, just to give you some context, inside of Agency Accelerator, we have a tiered system to label clients based on their retainer size. First, we've got what we call fish clients, and these are clients who pay anywhere from $500 to $3,000 per month. You get a couple of these clients and you're already making a full-time income. We have students catching fish every day, and we have this culture of actually photoshopping yourself catching a fish whenever you sign a new client. I'm just going to throw up some screenshots of students catching fish here in the editing so that way you can see what I'm talking about. The second tier we have is a shark, and this is a client who pays anywhere from $3,000 to $8,000 a month. This is where you're getting into some more serious territory. One of these clients and you can quit your job, and it's always a very proud day when a student signs their first shark. And the third and the most prestigious tier is a whale. Now, a whale client is a client that pays $8,000 per month plus. This one client alone will bring you more than $100,000 in a year. This is the greatest catch of all, and they are the North Star for everyone in the community. So with this, you can see that literally anyone can get to $10,000 a month by even signing just a single client. Now, obviously, it's pretty much never the case that the first client you sign is going to be a whale. We do need to be realistic here, but the more experience you get, the more sharks and the whales that you're going to catch. Now, you can see that all of the stages that I've covered so far require you to have at least one client, meaning that you really only get into this game in that first stage, once you've gotten your first paying client. That's really when the real game starts. Now, what I've noticed after working with tens of thousands of students is that the majority of people who fail with this business model, well, they actually fail before they even get to the first stage because they never managed to get any clients in the first place. So it's almost as if they never got into the playing field in the first place. So actually, the toughest part of this entire journey is just getting into the playing field. It's getting that very first paying client. And the thing is, it's a bit of an odd position when you're first getting started, because if your very first milestone in your agency journey is to sign your first client, and you get to a position where you've been working on your agency for 2 to 3 months and you haven't yet managed to sign any clients, it's very easy to feel frustrated and discouraged because you just feel like you're running in circles and not achieving any real progress. But that's not actually true. There's quite a lot of progress you need to go through in order to sign that first client. So what I've decided to do for this new iteration of the program is to add a preliminary phase before stage 1. You could kind of call it stage 0. And my main objective here with adding this stage 0 is to give you clearer points and clear instructions and tangible actions you need to take in order to get to stage 1. And these are going to be kind of your partial milestones that you need to hit before ever signing your first agency client. Again, it goes back to the point of having a clear map that breaks down every single step you need to take in this journey. So what I've created for you here is a detailed breakdown of what your first 100 days with your agency should look like day by day. This way, even if you don't manage to sign a client in your first 2 or 3 months with this business model, you still know that as long as you're following the 100-day plan, you are on the right track to get there. And I truly believe that assurance is so extremely important. So that way you're never getting to the point of feeling discouraged and giving up on your agency. That's the last thing that we want here. Remember, the only way to fail with your agency is if you give up. You're never gonna fail because you ran out of cash or because your offer failed, because this is not a business that requires cash for you to run it. Or listen, no more than $50 a month. And at the end of the day, you can always shift your niche, your service, your offer, your outreach method until you get it right. So as long as you don't give up and you stick to this for long enough, there is literally no way for you to fail with this business model. And I have seen it time and time again with students that struggle to get to that first stage, where they struggle to sign their first client for 3, 4, 5, 8 months. But once they get there, the momentum just gets on their side and everything starts working for them. And I told you before, I've been in that exact same situation myself. When I started my agency, it took me 7 months to go from signing my first client to signing my next client. But then once I signed that second client, within 45 days, I was already at $15,000 a month, and it was only up from there. And that's why I say that with this business model, you just have to stick to it for as long as you can, because when it rains, it pours. Now, with all that being said, don't think that it needs to take 4, 5, 6, 7 months for you to sign your first client. We have thousands of students who manage to sign their first client just a few weeks after starting their agencies. Sometimes even in their first week, but I'm going to be honest, it's not common. So I want to give you the most comprehensive plan you can get, so that way, even in the case where everything goes wrong, you still know exactly what are the next steps to follow. And so that way, you know that, yeah, you know what, maybe it's been 3 or 4 months, I haven't signed a client yet, but I'm making progress. And trust me, even if you don't think you are getting closer day by day. So with this ideal first 100 days breakdown, you will know exactly if you are on the right track or not. And this is exactly what you're going to do step by step to close your first client. So with all that being said, let's get into it. So in the first 7 days, here all you have to do is watch phase 1, which is our fundamentals phase. That's it. Watch it, rewatch it, get settled inside of the community, and even show up to a few coaching calls. Even if you don't ask any questions, just sit there and listen, and you'll start to hear some real world examples, people discussing their agency, what's going on in their agency, them being in the hot seat, and really just settle into things. Now, after your first week, 7 to 10 days in, here is where you have to select your niche, your service, your agency email, and go through all of the setup covered in phase 1. You absolutely do not need to spend more than 3 days here. Otherwise, that is when you're going to start overthinking what's the ideal niche and service, and you're going to start creating assumptions straight out of your head that are not real and that you've not confirmed in practice. So all you want to do here is to select whatever niche and service you think is the best to get started with, and from there, just put it to the test. Listen, it is completely fine if you get it wrong, because you are going to have a lot of time to pivot niches and services and offers later down the line. Now, obviously, inside of the niche and offer modules, I'm going to show you the exact strategy on how to select your niche and service when you're first getting started, so that way you have the highest likelihood of getting it right from the get-go. But again, you always have time to pivot later on. So take the pressure off your shoulders in trying to get this right on the first try, because likely you won't. Now, the 10 to 17 days in is when you watch phase 2, which is our mindset mastery training. Now, 17 to 20 days in, I want you to reflect on how you're going to implement exactly what you've learned in phase 2 and start implementing it right away. This is one of the most important steps in the entire program. And there is a reason the mindset training comes before all of the juicy technical stuff, except for phase 1. Now, I could have just added it as a bonus program at the end to give you some extra help. But what I've noticed after working with tens of thousands of students over the past 5 years in this industry is that the vast majority of people don't succeed, not because they lack the right information or because they don't have the technical skills needed to succeed. In fact, growing a successful agency business is one of the least technically demanding businesses you can get into. You're not starting a software company here. It doesn't require any special talent, no high IQ, no previous experience, or anything that you don't currently possess. The main reason why the people that don't succeed actually fail with this is because they have a lot of limiting beliefs and bad habits that hold them back and keep them stuck where they currently are. So what we're going to do during this phase is we're going to unwire those limiting beliefs so that way you don't get in your own way anymore. Trust me, this is one of the most essential phases you're going to go through, so make sure you do the work. Now, 20 to 27 days in, here is where you must watch phase 3 in its entirety. Now, in previous iterations of this program, we actually used to have systems and processes here. Now, we decided to actually have the outreach phase before we get into the systems and processes, and there's a very specific reason for that. You don't need to worry about having the right systems and processes in place if you don't have any clients yet. If you're spending your time writing SOPs and putting a bunch of systems in place before you actually have any paying clients, you are just pretending to be an agency owner. You are playing a game and you're playing yourself above all else. As an agency owner, you only need to focus on 3 things: reaching out to potential clients to get them on a meeting with you, closing the potential client into a paying client on the meeting, and delivering them good results. That's it. Now, obviously, we are going to go into excruciating detail about all 3 of those steps throughout this program, but you just need to know that to do all of that, 80% of your time will be spent doing outreach. That is, sending emails to potential clients, cold calling businesses, reaching out through Instagram, whatever outreach method you choose inside of this program. Maybe even building a personal brand. I dedicated an entire phase in this program to that alone. The point is, outreach and lead generation is your main priority as an agency owner, especially when you're first getting started. So if you're spending more than 20% of your time doing anything else apart from that, from this point on, as I said, you are just pretending to be an agency owner. And again, we moved the systems and processes phase to later down in the program because a lot of students used to use the actionables inside of this phase as an excuse not to get the work done. If you're spending weeks designing a logo, trying to design your website, as I said, we've literally done all of this stuff for you. We give you 20, 30 agency website templates. We help you design your logo in 5 minutes, generated for you. So we do all that stuff anyways, but if you're spending 3 weeks doing all this crap, you are just doing the busy work that's not actually going to generate you any results, and I cannot stress this enough. The main task that you should spend 80% of your time doing from this point onwards is outreach. So just make sure here that you watch the entire outreach phase. Now, days 27 to 37 days in, send your first 100 outreach messages. I do not want you to get to the next phase of this program before sending at least 100 outreach messages. First of all, you can't even judge if your outreach efforts are any good before the first 100 messages. So you just got to go through enough reps to gather the data and feedback needed to judge if your service, niche, and outreach methods have any proof of concept. And 100 messages is the bare minimum you need in order to get there. And most importantly, those 100 outreach messages are going to give you the data you need to improve your offer in outreach using a few concepts that you're going to learn in phase 4. And remember, signing a client is a 2-step process. Your objective here with outreach is not to sell prospects into your service right away. It's just getting into a conversation with them and getting them to book an online Zoom meeting with you. Now, once they're all sent, move on to the next step. Day 37 to 47 days in, watch phase 4, which is sales. For this one, I'm leaving 20 days instead of the regular 7 days to watch a phase. And that's just because this one is a bit longer than the others, and I want you to take your time to really understand the concepts you'll learn here. Remember to keep going through your outreach efforts as you're going through this phase. From this point on, you should never stop sending outreach messages. They are the one thing that will move your business forward. So even if you're watching a course or going through a bonus program, whatever you're doing, always schedule time to send your outreach messages. Now, 47 to 67 days in, here's where things start to get interesting. Your sole focus here should be on getting positive responses out of your outreach efforts. By the end of this period, you should be at 300 to 500 outreach messages sent at least. Now, depending on the type of outreach you're doing, this number is going to go up or down. Because of course, listen, it is way less time consuming sending bulk emails than it is just doing cold calls. So just adjust the numbers accordingly. And by this point, if you haven't gotten positive responses yet, or any responses at all, there are a few variables that could play a role in it. The first and most obvious one is just either your outreach messages are not good enough or you're reaching out through the wrong medium. You can have the perfect niche service combination and the best outreach messages and still not get any results because you're just getting the medium wrong. The example I like to give here is this. Imagine your niche is digital influencers and you're trying to reach out to them through email. It's very simple why it won't work. 90% of influencers just never read their email. They spend most of their time on social media, usually Instagram, so you are way less likely to get a response if you shift your outreach efforts to Instagram, for example. Alternatively, it could just be that you selected a service that your niche doesn't need, so no one is interested in the solution that you're offering. Now, how do you know which problem you're facing? Well, that's where the student community and the coaching calls are especially important. Just go to the community and ask other students for their opinions on why you're facing this problem. Then go on the coaching calls and talk to an expert about it. They will break it down for you and explain what problem you're currently facing. This way, you're going to know exactly what needs to be fixed. And here's where you're going to need to go through a few iterations of outreach messages before getting to the next phase. Now, don't feel discouraged if things don't work out at first. That's very normal. You just have to run through this a few times until you get it right. Now, I do not recommend changing niches before sending at least 500 outreach messages. At the end of the day, outreach is a numbers game, and you gotta go through enough repetitions to get enough sample data to make decisions based on it. And big decisions like changing your niche are not something that you want to do without going through a lot of data first. Now, once you've gotten a few positive responses from your outreach efforts, soon enough, you'll start booking meetings. Then what you have to do here is pretty straightforward. Just jump on those meetings with your prospects and sign them as a paying client. Now, after going through the sales phase of Agency Accelerator, you will know exactly how to do that like an expert. Your entire focus here should be on booking meetings and then jumping on those meetings to close prospects as paying clients. Now, as soon as you start getting meetings booked, it's just a matter of time until you close your first client. So at this point, you can already move on to the next phase. Now, the actionables of this phase are pretty much the exact same as the previous one, just to keep reaching out to potential clients. The idea is that during this period, your objective is to get your first sales meeting with a potential client booked. And then we get to 80 to 100 days in. And here's where you should watch the rest of the program, especially phase 5, systems and processes. There, Pierre, my business partner at Flozy, our software company, will give you the breakdown of the ideal first 100 days. After you sign your first client, you're going to be in good hands. Now, with that being said, no need to get into phase 6 or the bonus programs after phase 5 if you still haven't signed your first client. This is not your final rush to get it done, and you must 100% be focused on outreach and sales here. Again, those are the most important income generating activities for your agency. And those are the things that you should be focused on right now. And at this point, you should have already sent upwards of 700 to 1,000 outreach messages or should have signed your first client already. Now, if you haven't yet done one of the two, well, then you've skipped steps or you've gotten yourself caught up in doing busy work. So make sure to fix this here and go through all of the reps necessary. Now, if you have gone into 1,000 outreach messages and you haven't yet closed your first client, make sure you jump on all of the coaching calls inside of Agency Accelerator to get expert help on diagnosing what problems you have, and reach out to our support team inside of the community and they will help you out as well. And here's where you have to potentially shift niches or services or potentially even rethink your outreach strategy in case you haven't worked it out yet. Again, if you have gotten to your first 100 days and haven't yet signed your first client, do not feel discouraged. As long as you follow the steps I've laid out here, you are still on the right track. As I said, for some people, it will take a few weeks to sign their first clients. For others, it might take a few months. For some, it might even take 9 months. And all of these examples are completely fine. You just need to keep going through enough repetitions and eventually you will sign your first client. Just know that I have never, ever seen someone who is stuck to this process that I outlined here for 6 months, day in and day out, who has not managed to sign a client. I've yet to see that happen because this process works. You just have to stick to it. If you try to do things quicker, if you try to go in a different order, if you try to not follow this map that has been laid out, it might take you longer. It might take you 18 months. It might take you a year. It might take you 2 years. But if you just follow this map, this is the 4th iteration of this program in 6 years. We have helped tens of thousands of students. Listen, we know what we are doing here. You are in good hands, not only myself, but the best experts in the world that I have brought on this program to make sure that you succeed with this. So you just have to stick to it. And it might be difficult at times and you might doubt yourself, but as long as you keep moving forward, you will get there. And from my experience, the more time it takes for you to sign your first client, the faster it is you get to $10,000 a month once you do sign them. Remember, progress is not linear. Now, finally, once you sign your first client, first of all, take a bit of time to congratulate yourself because you are finally in the game and you finally progressed to stage 1. You've successfully just gone through the steepest climbs from all of the stages. So from now on, it's just a matter of doing the work and improving what you're already doing. So this is exactly what you need to do in your first 100 days of running your agency. Again, this is the most crucial period of running your agency and where 90% of people who get into this space fail. So if you successfully go through these first 100 days, even if you don't get any clients, as long as you do not give up, you're already in the top 10% of people who get started with running an agency. And it is just a matter of time until you find success. And the opposite is also true. If you find success very quickly, don't feel the need to stick with this calendar. You can power through it quicker than the first 100 days. If you can watch through the program faster and send a lot of outreach messages every single day and complete the action steps quicker, well then the faster you go through this process, the better, as long as you do not skip the steps or rearrange the order. So again, if you already sent 100 outreach messages out, you've gotten a few positive responses, and you're still 15 days into your agency journey, well then there's no need to wait until day 40 to get into the sales phase. You can already start going through it now. This is just a recommended schedule I've given you. So this is your map to go from $0 to $10,000 a month, well, even far more than that, honestly, with your agency business, starting from scratch. The path has been laid down in front of you, and it has been proven to work by thousands of students. All you have to do now is act on it and do the work. You have all of the resources and knowledge you need to succeed at your disposal. So now you just need to take action. The only thing sitting between your current self and your future self is the work that needs to be done in the map that I've just given you. Now, I have something very important to announce here. I actually cut this class short before it ended because I want to make sure you see this. The thing is, during this class, I have given you the map to success. And you can now take that map and try to walk the path on your own. But remember, the map is only useful when you have a plan that goes along with it. A plan on how you're going to walk from point A, which is where you are right now, to point B, which is the final destination the map shows you. And inside of episode 1, I have given you the 30-minute version of the plan. And you basically now have two options. Option 1 is trying to figure out everything on your own with a plan that pretty much sums up 8 years of experience in 30 minutes. Now, if you've ever tried to do anything online before, you know that the devil is in the details. And trying to figure out those little details by yourself is the very thing that gets you stuck and stops you from achieving success. And both you and I know that it's virtually impossible to cover all of those details in just 30 minutes. So choosing that option would essentially mean trying to figure everything out yourself through your own mistakes. And that is why I want to provide you with the second option, which is an in-depth plan, a 45-hour-long plan on how to go from wherever you are right now to the final destination of the map, which is a profitable agency doing $10,000 a month with sky-high profit margins. That plan is Agency Accelerator. Now, this option is the smart option if you want to cut your learning curve in years and get the shortcuts that I discovered while trailblazing this industry and walking the long path myself. So, if having this in-depth, step-by-step proven plan to go from $0 to $10,000 a month with your agency is something that you're interested in, let me show you what you get inside of Agency Accelerator. Now, as I just walked you through during this video, Agency Accelerator is composed of 6 phases. We've got foundations, mindset, outreach, sales, systems and processes, and inbound marketing. This is the core curriculum that you get inside of Agency Accelerator. Now, ever since the first iteration of this program that was released probably half a decade ago at this point, it was called Six Figure SMMA. I was always the one teaching everything inside. Now, Agency Accelerator is actually the 4th and final iteration of this program, and I will never be releasing an agency program again. To be honest, I just have too much going on with my other businesses. So knowing that, it's kind of like when an artist knows they're about to make their last album. They just want to leave everything on the table. And that's why I want to make this the best agency program ever. And to be honest, we already accomplished that years ago with the Agency Navigator. But this time, I didn't want to just make it the best agency program. I wanted to make it the best business program that has ever been made. And in order to accomplish that, I knew I couldn't do everything myself. Because even though I managed to hit $100,000 months with my agency, wasn't every single month, but was definitely a common occurrence, and I managed to run it at a very high level for many years, the truth is, there's still people out there who are better than me in specific subjects when it comes to running an agency. For example, I always focused on working with a handful of high-paying clients instead of working with hundreds of clients at the same time. So naturally, since I didn't need as many clients, I didn't have to do as much outreach or jump on as many sales calls as someone who works with hundreds of clients in their agency at the same time. So I simply didn't have as many repetitions when it came to agency sales as people like that. And that's why I wanted you to have the best instructors when it comes to outreach and sales. And that is why I brought them to teach you inside of Agency Accelerator. I mean, who better to teach outreach than the guy who created the tool that everyone uses to do their outreach? That tool is Lemlist, a multi-$100 million company. Every single year, outreach campaigns that are sent through Lemlist generate more than $1 billion in deals for all sorts of agency services. And Guillaume, who's the founder of Lemlist, gets to see behind the scenes of every single one of those campaigns. So he knows exactly what works the best when it comes to outreach. And he's gonna be your instructor, personally teaching you the most effective outreach methods that are working today in 2024. And he's gonna teach you that inside of phase 3. And then for sales, I brought on 2 of the most successful agency owners in the world today, Their names are Matt and Josh, and their agencies have more than 350 active clients today. And they've closed more than 1,000 clients at this point. They have gotten to a point where they're now acquiring agencies and rolling them up together to sell. Listen, I'll be honest, there are levels to this agency game, and Matt and Josh are definitely playing at the highest level. And they are personally going to be your instructors teaching agency sales in phase 4 of Agency Accelerator. And just remember, you only need 5 to 7 clients to get to $10,000 a month with this. But they have closed over 1,000 clients throughout their careers. So teaching you how to close a handful of deals is an easy task for them. And then finally, who better to teach you how to run your agency smoothly by implementing the best systems and processes than Pierre? He's my business partner at my software company we started 4 years ago called Flowzy. We currently have 23,000 agencies using Flowzy to run their operations, keep clients for longer, manage their team, manage their billing, manage their internal SOPs, have their onboarding funnel, even their website. So my business partner Pierre gets to see on a daily basis behind the scenes of how some of the most successful agencies operate internally. And he's gonna teach you how to implement the right processes so that way your agency can run without you. And he's gonna teach that during phase 5, which is systems and processes. These are gonna be your main instructors inside of the main curriculum for Agency Accelerator, including myself, obviously. And you're actually gonna see some of their classes next week during the Agency Accelerator week. And as I said, obviously, I'm gonna personally be teaching you as well during phase 1 fundamentals, phase 2 mindset. I'm also gonna be teaching inside phase 5 systems and processes. And I'm gonna be teaching all of phase 6, which is inbound marketing, where I'm gonna show you how to create a personal brand and grow it on YouTube and Twitter in order to get clients coming to you. So that way you don't have to rely on manual outreach. Basically how to build a personal brand to attract agency clients. But that's not all. Because inside Agency Accelerator, you're not just gonna get the main curriculum. You see, here's the thing, for all of the past iterations of this program, phase 6 used to be about service delivery. Now, as I mentioned, in Agency Accelerator, phase 6 is not actually service delivery. And the reason for that is because I didn't feel like one phase was enough for service delivery. And that's because there are so many different services that you can offer your clients. TikTok ads, Facebook ads, Google ads, conversion rate optimization, email marketing, copywriting, and so on. So what I decided to do was this. I've put together 3 entire programs for service delivery. The first one is Ad Architect by Justin Lalonde. Now, Justin actually used to be a student of Agency Incubator, which was the second iteration of the program. And today, he runs one of the most successful paid traffic agencies in the world. Inside Ad Architect, he's gonna show you how to run wildly profitable ads from scratch, even if you have never run a single ad in your life. And that includes Facebook ads, Google ads, and TikTok ads. The second program you get is Pen to Profit, which is taught by my own CMO, Luis Berger. Now, Luis started 5 years ago as an intern at my agency, and today, he's the brains behind some of the most successful internet campaigns and product launches. And the most interesting part is that he actually started as a media buyer, but his most valuable skill turned out to be copywriting. And with his copy, he not only generated tens of millions of dollars for myself personally between my multiple different businesses, but he's also written the copy for sales videos for clients of ours back at the agency. And these are projects I sold for $10,000, $20,000, $30,000 for a single sales video. And inside of Pen to Profit, he's gonna teach you how to write copy for these very same sales videos, as well as ad copy, landing page copy, sales page copy, and whatever else you can think of. Finally, you're also gonna get Inbox Insiders. Now, we just finished recording this program with Boyan, who's one of the top experts in the world when it comes to email marketing. He runs a wildly successful email marketing agency, and he has personally generated more than $50 million in sales for his clients through the emails that he writes. Now, Boyan's program, Inbox Insider, is gonna teach you how to personally run your own successful email marketing agency and make tens of thousands of dollars a month with it. So basically, you get to pick and choose which service resonates the most with you, and then you're gonna have a full-blown program going over it inside of Agency Accelerator. Now, just so you understand, Agency Accelerator is gonna be priced at $1,995. That is the official price when I launch it in a few months. Now, Agency Navigator, the previous version of this program, used to sell for $1,495. So obviously it makes sense that this new version is gonna be more expensive. Plus, you get 3 entire new programs inside of it for service delivery: Ad Architect, Inbox Insiders, and Pen to Profit. And these are not some simple one-phase bonus programs. We don't use Loom to record our screen and just put it out there. These are full-fledged programs that can be sold standalone for $1,500 each. So in total, you're getting 4 programs. And if you were to buy them separately, you would pay $6,000 total as a package for it. But you're gonna get all of the service delivery programs completely free inside of Agency Accelerator. So as I said, I'm only officially launching Agency Accelerator in a few months. But before I do that, I'm gonna let in a couple thousand people on Monday during our 4th episode of the Agency Accelerator week. And the reason I'm gonna do that is because I wanna collect our first 1,000 success stories for this program on the beta launch before we actually launch it publicly. But in order to do that, me and my team are going to be working very closely with this group of people that joins Agency Accelerator when I open enrollments on Monday. More on that in a second. Now, as a founding member who joins during the Agency Accelerator week, you're not going to be paying the total price of $1,995. Whenever I release a new program, I like to take care of the founding members. So when I first open enrollments for Agency Accelerator on Monday, you're gonna get a 50% discount on the total price. So that is $1,000 off of Agency Accelerator. So when I open enrollments on Monday, you're gonna be able to join for only $995. If you divide that into a year, that's $2.72 a day. It is literally less than a coffee a day. Now, the enrollments are only gonna be open until the end of the Agency Accelerator week. After that, enrollments close. So it's not like, oh, price goes up and we'll maybe let a few more people in. Like, no. The price goes up by $1,000, but you can't even get in even if you wanted to. I'm closing it off because I just wanna work with the select group that joins, and me and my team are dedicated to getting those 1,000 success stories first. And then eventually in a couple months or a few months, or to be honest, however long it takes to get those success stories, at that time, we'll reopen it back to the public. And to be honest, I still haven't decided how long I'm gonna keep the $1,000 discount for. I'm gonna think about it over the next couple days. I might keep the discount available for the entire week, maybe the first 72 hours, maybe the first day, maybe even just the first 3 hours. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a VIP list so that way you can lock in your guaranteed $1,000 discount on the first day. And I'm gonna tell you how you can put your name on the VIP list in just a second. But before that, there's another unreleased bonus that a few students are gonna get access to on Monday. Here's the thing. I wanna give you a plan for this program to pay for itself in 6 weeks. Plan for you as a founding member to get your first client in 6 weeks. I call it the 6-week fast track. And my student success coaches have personally tested this system one-on-one with over 2,000 of our students. And we have gotten it to the point where it simply works. The initial premise of it was very simple. The curriculum you get inside of Agency Accelerator is composed of 6 phases. Now, some of these phases are very in-depth, so it might take some people longer than a week to go through them. Listen, we want people signing clients as quick as humanly possible. So we decided that we would take the 6 phases and really just itemize them, create SOPs, and put them into the most actionable step-by-step coaching program that we could. So when you join Agency Accelerator on Monday, not only are you gonna get access to the discount, but the first 500 people are also gonna get access to the 6-week fast track coaching program. So listen, I guess what I'm trying to say here is I haven't created a new agency program in 3 years. This is the 4th and final iteration. I am so obsessed and dedicated to making sure that we have incredible case studies, incredible success stories, even better than what we had before. And by the way, on Monday, I'm gonna tell you about some of the success stories that have come from the 6-week fast track, as well as the teachings in the old program. And I'll be honest, the old program was amazing, but this is genuinely 10 times better. And that is precisely why I'm opening it up at this $1,000 discount, giving the 6-week fast track to the first 500 people who join, and then closing it off, not accepting any more customers, not accepting any more business, because I am dedicated to the people who join now, and I'm dedicated to make sure that we produce student results that have never, ever been seen before. And I think that's the reason I'm making this launch offer so special, because I want people to join who are hungry, who are willing to learn, who are willing to match the energy and the dedication that me and my team want to put into this. So on that note, I'm going to leave a link below to join the VIP list. As I said, this is going to give you preferential access as well as lock in that $1,000 discount for Monday. Anyone who joins that list is going to get guaranteed the $1,000 discount on Monday. As I said, I don't know if I'm going to keep the $1,000 discount for the first day, 3 days, or the whole week, but whoever is on the VIP list will get guaranteed it. And when you're on that list, you're also gonna get preferential access to the 6-week fast track. As I said, I'm only offering that for the first 500 people, and that's it. So if all of this sounds interesting and you wanna work very closely with myself and my team, go ahead, click the link below, join the VIP list, and I will see you on Monday's episode.